most experienced business owners I speak to don't lack information. They usually know enough, but what they struggle with is commitment. They know roughly what the right next move is, or at least the direction it sits in, but they keep it in a holding pattern. And the longer you delay a decision that you already understand, the more expensive it gets. See, we're taught that good decisions come after clarity. You gather the data, you talk it through, you wait until it feels settled. But in my experience, most of the decisions that really matter in business don't work like that. They're often made before clarity, and the clarity only shows up once you're committed and in motion. So on the surface, waiting can look responsible, but a lot of the time, for me anyway, it was really just emotional hiding. It's easy to pass off stalling as measured consideration when it's not. So one pattern I've noticed over time is that more information stops being helpful much earlier than you think. You see, when you're starting out, you know very little, so the only way forward is to move. When Tobes and I started Bluewire, we didn't have clarity and we didn't expect to. We were green and we just knew that we needed our next client. So we knocked on doors, we cold called businesses, we were winging it, especially on the selling front. But because we were so early, we were oblivious to any second order consequences. There was no reputation to protect, no real downside, and so we took action and we moved forwards. And that was the exact right thing to do at that stage of the journey. But fast forward to the point where you get more experienced, something changes. You see patterns, you get burned, you know what things cost, and so you're aware of the consequences. So in these situations, more information doesn't really improve the decision-making process anymore. In fact, it often hinders it and slows it down. Because at that point, you're not managing uncertainty, you're managing all the downside that you can imagine. There's the risk, there's the responsibility, there's the reputation that can all become a mess. So the knock-on effects you are aware of, and you can see them coming if things don't work. And that's why I see a lot of experienced operators get stuck. The biggest cost at this level isn't making the wrong decision, it's being half in for too long. So that's exactly what happened with our agency model. We knew deep down that it was flawed for us. Tobes and I talked about different business models for years, but we delayed or we were half-hearted. And if I'm honest, the final decision didn't come from a moment of clarity or courage. The reality is our hand was forced. We couldn't grow the client retainers fast enough to keep up with staff and to keep up with rent. So the numbers stopped working. So we shut down the agency side of the business. Now, what surprised me was that relief came instantly. It didn't come after everything was resolved. It came as soon as we'd made the decision. Things felt lighter. The energy came afterwards, not before. So we made the decision, and looking back, the real cost wasn't that the agency model was imperfect. It was how long we stayed half committed to something we already understood wasn't right for us. Beginners delay because they don't know what to do. Experienced operators delay because they do know what to do and they can see the consequences. So it doesn't mean that delaying is always wrong. Sometimes it's prudent, but there's a line where that prudence turns into avoidance. And for us, and for me personally, a big part of that delay came down to identity. We saw ourselves as good bosses, and we believe that good bosses put staff first and that we keep staff through thick and thin, and that was the right thing to do. So we carried that belief at significant financial and emotional cost. In hindsight, we were martyrs in our own head. But when we finally committed and shut down that side of the business and moved fully into consulting, speaking, and workshops, something happened. And not just for us. The people we let go, they didn't suffer. They moved into better paying roles with that stronger companies, or they set up shop on their own, and we gifted them some clients. So by holding on for so long, we weren't even protecting the people that we thought we were. We were holding everyone, including ourselves, back. Now, if I'd had access to today's AI back then, decades ago, it wouldn't have told me what to do, but it would have helped me get an honest answer sooner. I would have been able to pressure test the decision without carrying the weight of it all alone. We could explore the trade-offs that we were avoiding, and we could think through the second order effects. Now, AI is not there to replace our judgment, but it is there to help us reduce the cost of hesitation, which in this case was quite significant. So that's how I use AI now, not to decide for me, but to help me stop circling around decisions that I already understand, and to help get to the crux of why we are holding on tightly to certain beliefs and identities. I believe that AI could help me unravel that tightly held identity belief that good bosses never let staff go and you just grind it out and go through thick and thin. I believe that if we'd had AI, I would have been able to ask better questions. Because it's the better questions that AI can then respond to and help you get to a cleaner decision that's not rushed, it's not reckless, it's just deliberate, and then you're able to live long enough to see the truth of that decision. So if this resonates, it's usually a sign that there's a decision that you already understand, but you haven't quite acted on yet. Now, it's probably worth being honest about what's actually being delayed and looking yourself in the mirror to see what do you need to do next. I hope that helps.